To observe the essential demands of the moral law means to do at least what is required under pain of mortal sin. To do at least what is required under pain of mortal sin. The question, therefore, comes down to this: can a person, without the help of grace, avoid all mortal sin over a long period of time? Is that possible? No. The problem here is to define the limits of free will and its need of grace. If a human creature is truly free, she should be able, by one's natural resources, to do some good and avoid some evil, as we saw above. But if one can do this on particular occasions, why can one not do it over a long period of time? Opinions. Pelagians held that the human person needs no other grace than free will itself in order to observe all the commandments perfectly and throughout one's entire life. And we said they were wrong. Dead wrong. Okay? Because free will has proven over and over again that though it's not totally destroyed, but it has been wounded, in a sense darkened. That's why people can perceive things like abortion as right, perceive things like homosexuality as no good. So, sacred scripture. Paul, quoting the Old Testament, all those quotes are there, tells us that all are under the domination of sin. Romans chapter 3 is very, very important in this regard. This shows that left to their own resources, humans lack the moral strength to avoid sin, or at least over a long period of time. Let's just look at Romans 3 briefly. Romans chapter 3. St. Paul's letter to Romans, chapter 3. Okay, we begin with verse 1. Romans chapter 3, verse 1. What advantage is there then in being a Jew, or what is the value of circumcision? Much in every respect, for in the first place, they were entrusted with the utterances of God. What if some were unfaithful? Will their infidelity nullify the fidelity of God? Of course not. God must be true, though every human being is a liar. As it is written, every human being is a liar, Paul says. As it is written, that you may be justified in your words and conquer when you are judged. But if our weakness provides proof of God's righteousness, what can we say? Is God unjust, humanly speaking, to inflict his wrath? Of course not. For how else is God to judge the world? But if God's truth redounds to his glory through my falsehood, why am I still being condemned as a sinner? And why not say, as we are accursed and as some plainly say, accused, okay, and that we should do evil, then good may come of it. The penalty is what they deserve. Now, he comes to this explanation. Well then, we are better off. Well then, are we better off? Not entirely, for we have already brought the charge against the Jews and the Greeks alike, that they are all under the domination of sin. As it is written, there is no one just, not one. There is no one who understands. There is no one who seeks God. All have gone astray, all alike are worthless. There is not one who does good. There is not even one. Their throats are open graves. They deceive with their tongues. The venom of asps is on their lips. Their mouths are full of bitter cursing. Their feet are quick to shed blood. Ruin and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they know not. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Okay? So now we know that what the law says is addressed to those under the law, so that every mouth may be silenced and the whole world stand accountable to God. Since no human being will be justified in his sight by observing the law, for through the law comes consciousness of sin. Okay, so and then he continues again to say how all have sinned and need justification. But the important thing here is to see that wickedness has basically touched every human being, the universality of original sin. Okay? So we are under the domination of sin. So when Jesus went with his apostles to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane, he said to Peter, "Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh," that is the human creature, viewed in one's weakness, frailty, and mortality, is weak. That's what Jesus means there. So the first words, watch and pray, express the need for prayer. The latter words indicate why prayer is necessary, especially in time of trial, because the flesh is weak. That's why we need prayer, to be strengthened. We are weak. So because of the weakness of human nature, one will not succeed in overcoming severe and prolonged temptation without the help of God's grace. It is impossible. If one says that they can, they are liars. Okay, we know human nature very well. It is for this reason too that Paul exhorts the Christians at Ephesus. You must put on the armor of God if you are to resist on the evil day. Okay, so basically explaining the spiritual battle there. You put on the armor of God, and so on and so forth. So we need God's grace. So if you ever hear someone say, for me, I'm a very good person. As I told you, someone went to confession and said, Father, I just don't know, but I just don't commit sins. I'm just not a sinful person. Then why are you here? Because you told us that you need to. Okay, it's my nature. I'm not a sinful man. It's my nature. I just don't commit sins. And he was told that that is your sin. I said, which one? Pride. Okay, so unless you have angelic nature, the good angels, but if you have human nature, we are prone to sin because of the consequence of original sin called concupiscence. Okay? Concupiscence. So we should stop pretending. That's why, sometimes I love these commercials. You see, I think you know the commercial where they advertise flood insurance. You have to insure your house for floods, okay? Against floods. So there's a man reading a newspaper and whatever, but the house is flooding and the water is right on his neck, but he's holding a newspaper pretending. So they go, stop pretending, get flood insurance. Okay? So oftentimes we pretend that we are not sinners. But if one knows human nature, the human soul, okay, we should simply stop pretending. Because the human soul is weak. The will is weak. So that's why we need the grace of God for empowerment. That's why the saints recognize that so well, and they constantly draw strength from the empowerment of God, namely confession and the Eucharist and the other sacraments, but especially those two sacraments. Because they recognize that the evil of sin and the need for that constant empowerment. So we should stop pretending. So Romans 7:14 through 22 expresses how weak in the face of temptation is the person who is left to mere natural resources. So St. Paul says, let's read the text itself. Romans 7:14. St. Paul basically expresses it so well here. 7:14 through 22. Let's begin with verse 13, sin and death. Romans chapter 7, beginning with verse 13. Did the good then become death for me? Of course not. Sin, in order that it might be shown to be sin, worked death in me through the good, so that sin might become sinful beyond measure through the commandment. We know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold into slavery to sin. What I do not understand. For I do what I want, but I do not do what I want, but I do what I hate. All of us have that experience. We want to do good, but we end up embracing sin. Okay, the sin we don't want. That's what Paul is expressing here. So now if I do what I do not want, I concur that the law is good. So now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. For I know that good does not dwell in me, that is, in my flesh. The willing is ready at hand, but doing the good is not. So how often do we build castles in the air? I'm going to do this and this and this and this, and we feel good about it, and never do it. Or sometimes even do the opposite. Okay? For I do not do the good I want, but I do the evil I do not want. Okay? So listen to the argument. Now, if I do what I do not want, it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. So then, I discover the principle that when I want to do right, evil is at hand. For I take delight in the law of God in my inner self, but I see in my members, meaning the flesh, another principle at war with the law of my mind, taking me captive to the law of sin that dwells in my members. Then St. Paul laments, miserable one that I am, who will deliver me from this mortal body? That's the plight of a sinner. A miserable one I am, who will deliver me? And then St. Paul makes this famous statement inside him, thanks be to God through Jesus Christ our Lord. He is my only salvation. He's talking about basically grace, the grace of God. It's only through his gift, Jesus Christ, through whom we receive other gifts of salvation, that we are able to overcome that condition of misery. Miserable me. And remember that that's why St. Paul later on says that I do good now, but it's not Paul at work, but Christ who dwells in me, who lives in me. Because I know myself well. Okay, that if Christ doesn't come to my aid, it is the law of sin that dwells in me. So that's what we are expressing here. Okay. So, therefore, a person relying on natural efforts alone and unaided by grace cannot avoid mortal sin over a long period of time. What St. Paul is explaining here is that propensity to sin we call concupiscence, which has affected each and every human being except the Mother of God. Unless you were the Virgin Mary in disguise, but all of us have been affected. by this. Okay, the teaching of the church magisterium. The Indoclus, I told you about that statement, document around 440 AD, stresses the need of God's daily help to overcome the snares of the devil and to conquer the concupiscence of the flesh. So, we read in the Indoclus, nobody, not even he who has been renewed by the grace of baptism, is capable of overcoming the snares of the devil and of conquering the concupiscence of the flesh, unless he receives perseverance in good conduct through the daily help of God. Now that is very significant. Even those who have been baptized, if we don't persevere in grace, we can't avoid the snares of the devil and the concupiscence of the flesh to lead us into sin, into grave sin, into mortal sin. So that's why Jesus says, those who accept the baptism will be saved. But then in another text he says, those who persevere until the end. Because it's not simply to receive the grace of baptism, but we must persevere into it, to grow into the grace. That's why we don't have only one sacrament. I was baptized and I'm done. No, we need that constant help, okay? Through the sacraments we receive. But as we know, especially through the sacrament of the Eucharist and reconciliation. We receive the sacraments of initiation, receiving of baptism, confirmation, the Eucharist, but we continue to grow in that grace. We must persevere. Perseverance is so key. Because it's very easy to fall away. That's what Paul meant when he said, work for your salvation with anxious concern, or with fear and trembling. Because there is that constant danger of backsliding, of falling away. So we need grace. So we cannot persevere in good conduct unless we receive the daily help of God's grace. So the Council of Trent in 1547 pronounces anathema, that is basically condemnation. Okay, you have been condemned unless you repent. Anathema against those who say that without God's special help, the justified person can persevere in the justice one has received. So meaning that you just need baptism, as Luther said, and baptism and faith. Okay? Just to believe, then you will be saved. Well, believing goes hand in hand with obedience. Okay? So when it says faith in God, okay, we are justified by faith. Yes, but what is that faith? Faith means that I receive the gift of God, and receiving the gift of God means to obey everything that God has said and revealed. So that is the meaning of salvific faith. So if someone simply says, just say you believe and you are saved, that's not true. If faith is devoid of obedience, it is not faith at all. That's why we can say that these people who embrace sinful lifestyles and justify it as, I want it, therefore it is right, but I have the right to receive Holy Communion, do this and whatever, okay? The church must accept this and so on and so forth. It's not faith. Faith goes hand in hand with obedience. Without obedience, there is no faith.
Do we teach that often enough?
We try.
The Protestants, they always say, well, you know, I've been saved. I'm saved. Are you saved?
And I think we explained that some time back about the Protestant idea of salvation. You see, salvation is, the best way to look at it is, again, it's a biblical image. God is here, and we are here. I can't cross over to God, so it's God who crosses over. Why can't I cross over to God? Because between me and God, there's that infinite space, hiatus, okay? Basically, there's that abyss sin creates that I can't traverse. This infinite distance sin creates between me and my God. So God comes to me. And when God comes to me, He calls me and I respond. Now some respond, some don't. But when I respond, this is what we call justification. Justification. Okay? When I respond, God is, Jesus Christ, the true God and true man, is a bridge. Okay? By the way, that's why we call his feet on the earth, okay? The bridge, the pontiff. Okay? Pontiff means bridge. The Pope call it the pontiff.
Oh, that looks like a ladder.
Yes, it looks like a ladder. Jacob's ladder. Okay? Whatever what you call it, it looks like a ladder. So he calls us, okay? And then we start the journey. So salvation has begun. Okay? Salvation has begun, but it's not yet fully accomplished. It's a journey. It's a spiritual journey I walk. I need to walk from Egypt to the promised land, from the exile back to God, from the pig house back to the Father's house, from the pig farm back to the Father's house. So I need to walk, but the journey is long. As we hear Elijah was fleeing, going to Horeb, the mountain of God, but he fell asleep. The angel tapped him, gave him bread, eat. Get up and eat because the journey is still long. Okay? The type of the Eucharist. So the journey is long. So we are walking. Salvation has begun, but it hasn't yet been fully accomplished. We are on the way. So the Protestant mentality is we are already there. That is delusional.
No matter what you do.
No matter what you do, you will be saved. Okay? St. Paul says differently, Scripture says different, Jesus himself says differently. Okay? So we must work for our salvation with fear and trembling, okay? Hoping that we are not knowing that we are not yet confirmed in grace. We are not in heaven. So there is a constant danger of falling back or even falling away from the way. So that is the meaning of salvation. So we understand it has begun, but we are growing into it, we are walking, and we need Christ to uphold us all the way. Because he says, I am the way. So we are pilgrims, we are on an exodus, we are not yet there. So we're going to say, I'm saved. Yes, salvation has begun, it's true. But it's moving toward fulfillment. We are not yet confirmed in grace.
What do you tell a person when they say, I've been saved, and the opposite way they've been sinning?
Now you ask them, what do you mean by that?
Oh, okay.
What do you mean by you've been saved? Then they will say whatever they said, then you tell them, well, that's not true. Okay? Salvation has begun, but we are on the way. We are on the way, and things happen along the way. Okay. So, so if this is true of the justified person who is strengthened by habitual grace, it is all the more true of those who are not justified. So if someone who is baptized can fall into sin again and again, what about those who have never even received divine help? So these statements imply that one cannot avoid mortal sin over a long period of time without the help of grace. Okay, theological reasoning. Free will implies the ability to avoid mortal sin at least on some occasions. If a person is completely incapable of doing so, one is not free and thus cannot commit a mortal sin. If properly motivated, a drunkard can refrain from getting drunk on one occasion. So also a liar may refrain from lying on a particular occasion, a thief from stealing, an adulterer from committing adultery. But if such persons can refrain from evil on particular occasions, why can they not do it over a long period of time? The reason is the strength of concupiscence, that propensity to evil, strongly inclining one to sin, and the weakness of the will to resist it, especially when the temptation is intense and prolonged. So you can avoid it for a day, for 2 days, for 3, a week, okay, 2 weeks, and then boom, okay, you fall. That's why, by the way, with these intense, temptations, we shouldn't make like long-term plans. That okay, this month I'm not going to sin. No. Okay? So we just pray in the morning. That's what we mean by offering the day to God. Just say that God, you have given me the gift of today. Okay? It's a wonderful gift. Help me to receive this gift as you will. Okay? Today, that I may not fall into sin or grave sin, whatever you want to pray for. But today. So when I succeed today, then I examine my conscience in the evening. If I thank God for whatever I did, and then ask for forgiveness where I have failed, and wait for tomorrow. We set short-term goals. But if we say, okay, now this month, it is just we can't do it. We just go day by day, knowing that God doesn't ask me, today is what, the 8th. God is not asking me to live His grace the 17th of July, because it's not here, and I may not even live to see the 17th of July. God is asking me to embrace Him now, today. So that's how we should live the grace of God. That's what Jesus meant, that tomorrow will fend for itself. Okay? The concerns of today is what you should take into account. It didn't mean that we shouldn't plan for life. But what he meant is that my grace can only be lived in the now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but in the now. So that's how we can set goals for at least ourselves to avoid sin. Okay. We must remember that we are weak. We have that propensity. It's only by the grace of God that the will is strengthened. And the primary way of strengthening the will, we know it's sanctifying grace, but I must be willing to receive it. So prayer is one of the primary ways of strengthening the will against sin. Prayer. Because prayer is the opening of the mind and heart to receive from God. Prayer is responding to what God is offering. Prayer is God's gift. Prayer is covenant relationship. Prayer is communion with God. See? All those things help to strengthen and empower the will to do good. That's why we need prayer. Okay. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. For this same reason, Christians are urged to avoid the near occasion of evil. Why do we need to avoid the near occasion of evil? Some of us delude ourselves, oh, I'm strong enough for this. You have a problem with gambling. You gamble all the time. But then you sit there at home and you say, well, I'm going to go to the fiesta, but I'm just going to the buffet. I'm not going to gamble. But how do you get to the buffet? Unless you have wings. But how do you get to the buffet? You go through the casino. And if you have a temptation device, constant temptation to gamble, you are going to gamble. Because the distance from the first machine to the escalator which takes you to the buffet is like what? 100 meters. Okay? So you will walk in the near occasion of sin. Okay, and you are going to sin. So the best way is don't go to the casino. There is food elsewhere. there's food elsewhere. And with other temptation, it's the same. Okay? We say, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm going, but I will not do this. It's just a lie. Because I'm going to do it if I go there. I will do it. So we have to know that we are weak human beings and that we must avoid the near occasional evil. You have a problem with drinking, okay? And then you deceive yourself, I'm going to buy some beers, put them in the refrigerator for visitors. Every time you open that thing to get food, you see the bottles. The near occasion is there, you're going to drink. You're going to drink, no matter what you do, because the near occasion is there. So I must avoid the near occasion in order to not fall into sin. So we have to know that we are weak human beings. That's what we do when we go to confession. And I, with your grace, okay, with the help of your grace, I'll sin no more, and I will avoid the near occasion of sin. Because however much I want to sin, if it's not there, I'm not going to do it. It's not there, so I'm not going to do it. But if it's there, it's like, okay, I'm not going to do it back, I'm not going to do it back, okay? So it's like we make life difficult for ourselves. So we must avoid the near occasion of evil. So concupiscence is strong and persistent. The fallen creature's perception of spiritual values is dim. One's attraction to virtue feeble. One's will to resist temptation weak. That applies to all, even those who pretend. Okay? It applies to all of us. Under the pressure of persistent temptation, one's attention begins to flag, to waver. Okay? One's resolve grows weak. One wearies of the struggle, and finally one gives in. And you know, people, because we know our weaknesses, like people who try to lead others into sin, they know this. They know that you persist. Okay? And then eventually, you get this person. You just need to persist. You chip away on their will, slowly by slowly, and eventually you get them. So unless we avoid the near occasion of sin, okay? This basically happens. Okay, so let's stop there for today. We'll look at this other question next week. Okay. So basically next week it will be about final perseverance. Final perseverance is our salvation. To persevere until the end. So what do we need to persevere until the end? Because remember that to persevere for a day or two is easy. But to persevere for a year, 2 years, 10 years is not easy. So how are we going to die in that grace of final perseverance? So that's what we'll look at next week. Okay, glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Thanks for coming and have a good day. Thank you.